CLTV, Jarrett, Payton, Josh, Frydman, kicking it with our fellas from the D and Davis show. Demonze, Spruiel, and Kenneth Davis. Follow them on Twitter, Demonze1, and that's Davis. Stick with baseball, let's switch it up. We go to the south side here, fellas. What's been more frustrating as White Sox fans? The performance of some of the young players, Moncada, Giolito. We've seen some guys in the minors like Kopech maybe not produce the way fans have expected, or the rash of injuries. I mean, it has been an onslaught for guys in the minor leagues, now in the majors as well, with Javi Garcia going back today.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because as a White Sox fan, you kind of want them to tank, but at the same time, you want the younger players to show and prove. You know what I'm saying? Really show what they have. With the injuries is not good. Like I said, man, it's kind of heartbreaking to see the injuries. It's kind of heartbreaking to see exactly how they're losing. Sometimes like mental mistakes here and there. It's not looking all that well. But I mean, this is a process, right? You just kind of try to hopefully Rick Hahn knows what he's doing, and 2 years from now, hopefully it works out.
I think that's the hardest part, though, Ken. Before you say something, it's being in the process of being someone where you lose a lot, especially if you have a young ball club. Eventually, you want to get to the top where you start winning a lot, you start winning championships, and I think that's the goal. But you also have to have the right manager, the right coach around to be able to help out. And if, like you said, Rick has to be that guy, because right now inside that clubhouse, it cannot be fun on a day-to-day basis coming and taking all these L's this season.
Me, I would say Moncada does slightly worry me, because even when that trade was made, and we know that he was a top flight prospect, it's Boston, and he was one of their top 3 prospects for that year and the year before.
He was the number 1 prospect
in baseball, yeah, but just as far as, because they had brought up one guy and then they had like Demonze,
sure.
And so it was that kind of worried me, because you're looking at the fact that they held on to who they wanted to hold on to. At least that's how I was looking at it. And also teams, and the Yankees do this a lot in the 90s, teams kind of sell up prospects so that they can make those moves, especially their contending teams. So that Giolito, I mean, if you really kind of read some of the reports with the Nationals and how they try to mess with his throwing motion and coming here, with Don Cooper and even going down to the minors, I do not worry about the pitching as much when it comes to the Sox. I will say this though, we're not going to get back the value that you initially thought you're going to get in him. You may be able to get him at best to a 3rd starter, and that's not going to bring back what you want. A lot of these guys, not a lot of them, but they're going to be gone, especially with pitchers. I look at what the Sox did compared to what the Cubs did, and the Cubs were with everyday players, which makes more sense and sound. But when you have perhaps the best pitching coach in baseball, you can try to sit there and go with pitchers, and hopefully you can use these pitchers and flip them for other prospects or players that can be on the everyday roster. So I am disappointed. The injuries do hurt. I saw when Ivy got hurt, I know it's retroactive, and I thought, well, I wonder if he just didn't want to get traded, because I mean, he had to be one of the top guys going out. But it's disappointing.
No, nothing to do with that. I mean, you know, he
Don't get back from him like that anyway.
No,
yeah. You're not getting back anything from. I mean, even Abreu, you're not going to get someone's top flight prospect for Abreu, a first baseman that's a DH. Even though he's slumping right now, but he was hot at the beginning of the year. You're not going to get someone's elite prospect unless they were dying of thirst for Abreu. I mean, I would probably rather keep him for the prospects, especially the Latin prospects. Yeah, but with Abby, you know what? We've been waiting for Avisail Garcia for so long. It's like, just leave him. It's just how you feel. Because it's like, I don't want to see somebody else benefit from just, all right, bring your butt out there. We'll just stay here for the time being, and maybe we'll get something from him.
I think the hardest part is that he just started to heat up a little bit, and then back on the DL again. That is where that to me is kind of like what this season has been like for White Sox fans.
I mean, but you look at the back of his Garcia, you look at the back of his baseball card, it is what it is. He had a breakout season a couple seasons last year. You know what I'm saying? But boom, what happened? He got hurt. I think the biggest question is, yeah, you have Don Cooper, but I don't know about Rick. You know, it's just
Renteria.
Yeah, I just don't.
What are your questions about it?
He's not a guy who's going to win you a championship.
Why?
I think the internal moves of what's going on the base pads, it doesn't look sound to me. It just doesn't look like they're being coached up. And I know he's like good for the guys. He seems like a guy. You're like, oh yeah, it's my coach. He will have a few shots. But yeah, he seems like that. He doesn't seem like a guy who would come in and be a statistician and get the job done. And that's why so many times, especially with the Cubs have the north side, it's like, okay, yeah, this make it look nice, and we have all these prospects. Okay, now you can go, sir. You know, and you bring in an actual coach, about a manager. So I think that's one of the biggest questions for Frydman in the White Sox organization. Is he the guy to, when all these prospects are up and they're balling, basically got to be?
Do you agree with your partner in crime here that Renteria may not be the guy for the long haul? That is a huge question for Sox fans going forward. The majority of fans we've heard from, they like Ricky Renteria.
I like him too, but I don't know if he can do it all.
I don't know if the player should be having shots, drinking hard liquor.
I mean, sometimes all his losing,
He just could have had Gatorade. He didn't know what he was
said
saying.
shots.
Oh, shots.
But look,
30
I think,
and
you know what, I would be stupid not to look at what the Cubs did. And of course, the Cubs had an opportunity to grab an elite manager at that time when you have the fact that Madden had an out in his contract with the Rays rather. Look, I think most of us believe he's an A to B guy. He's not an A to C guy. So, but also right now, what do we need? I mean, is some top flight manager come available, and when you want to come to a team that's this not far along in the rebuild. So if he's a guy, and I think this is what we all assume, a good clubhouse guy, and yes, he's not the tacticianer that a lot of other managers are at this point, but still, if he can keep the environment positive while we're trying to grow these kids, and it seems like he's good with growing young prospects, I don't have an issue at this point. I will say this: after next season, there needs to be a turnaround.
Some progress.
When you're looking and staring at the Cubs, it's easy to be like, so what's going to happen? You look at Houston. When you look at these teams that gutted it down and ripped it all the way down, you want it back. It takes 3 years at least, and we're in basically a year and a half since we got rid of Sale, Quintana, and all the other Heaton and all those other.
In year 3,
so let's be honest. After next season, then heads should roll.
I think right now he's perfect for what's going on right now. Yeah, I think he's in place right now. He might not be the guy. He might not be the guy for the future, but for right now, for this ball club, I think this is perfect for him right now to get this thing going on the right track. Eventually, Josh, like you said, there's going to have to be some type of decision. But Kenneth, I'm with you. Why would you want to come here now if you're a top A, manager coming to this ball club?
I'm curious to see how the Sox finish this season. If you remember when he was with the Cubs, Ricky Renteria, they traded Samardzija at the All-Star break. Right before then, that was the the Addison Russell deal. The Cubs finished with a winning record the final, I think, 60 games of that year under Ricky Renteria. They played well leading up to that 2015 team. If the Sox can show a little something going into the offseason, I think that's going to go a long way to Ricky keeping this clubhouse that's 30 games under 500, at least focused on play. That's going to be a big question for this team, because you're right. This year's obviously to the tank. We'll see what happens going forward. We got to take a break, though.
Right.
We'll talk more, maybe hoops.
Hoops, and we got to squeeze in Bears,
All right,
please.
That's coming up next. Dean Davis with us on CLTV.